leave these in the code and just turn off debugging. And it will work perfectly fine without any slowdowns. So yeah, back to what I was saying. Use debug functions, create your own, like this. They're really great and easy to use. That way it's really fast for you. If you want to print out your own debug message, you just go to general here, debug, and you have all your debug functions. And it's really quick to just stuff the text in there instead of having to do this combined text every time you want to print out a variable in a bit pretty way. When you find a bug in your map, if you don't know where it is, try to think where approximately it could be, what could be wrong, and then go through every single line and double, triple, quadruple check your indexes. These numbers that are inside this function, the indexes here when you use arrays, it's pretty much always what is wrong is an index somewhere that is either set to the wrong variable, it's not set, the variable is not increased. Double check, use debug print, check that the variable is increased, make sure that the variable is what you think it should be, make sure it doesn't change. Yeah. And that's how you debug a map, pretty much, for triggers, trigger errors. One more thing you'll notice here is that I use records for my settings. I've really started preferring doing this lately. That I just create a new record, stuff all my settings in there, and then I have a variable of that record that is not an array. So whenever I want to reference one of my settings, all I do is just set it to this settings thing. The reason I do this is simply because if I double click here, you'll see I only have 2 variables in my entire map, even though inside these records I have a total of 6. And as my map grows larger, I will just have 1 record per system, or maybe 2, depending on what I need to store. You can't store arrays of record inside the record. So if you need an array of a record, you need to create a new one. But you can store all your settings. So if I gonna open another map here, my BattleBots map, my current working map. You'll see there's absolutely no code here because I'm coding it as a library. This button here opens your libraries. Here you can see the built-in functions and stuff, which is pretty cool. There's also a couple of cool things here in the template folder under built-in. You can find some code for sorting algorithms if you need it, and some other half-useful stuff. Take a look at it. It's pretty cool. Anyway, if you look at my variables, you'll see that every single system I have in my map is a record and a variable. Everything. And you can see how many records and variables I already have for the systems I have in my map. And if you look inside the records, you'll see that each record probably has, yeah, this is for a dialogue, so I have to store the dialogue, I have to store references to every dialogue item, and so on. Item system, settings, lots of stuff. So when I now go, you notice that some of them are green as well. I'll talk a little bit about this in this tutorial, like, why not? I'm already gone way over the time I had thought. So if I go here and add, yeah, for instance, set variable, when I pick the variable, only my records will show up. If I didn't use records and put these variables inside records, I would have hundreds of variables in this list. This way I can easily just go, okay, I am in my info dialog right now, so I just go here, get the info dialog settings, and here I have all my settings for my info dialog. It basically just keeps my map cleaner. What naming convention you use is up to you. I like this colon separated thing, but hey, use whatever you like. So yeah, green functions and gray functions here inside. You'll notice that some of these presets here are black and some of them are green. The reason for that is that I've checked them. I press Ctrl Enter now to get the element properties, or you can simply right click and hit element properties. is that I check this internal thing here. What that does is if I go outside of the library and add a new variable and set it to be a preset. On my street to start with BattleBots. You'll see the only presets that show up are the ones that are not internal. So this is really useful because only functions that you don't make internal will show up in this list. So if I'm outside the map, outside the library here, I only have the functions that I want the game itself to be able to access. All the internal stuff like dialogue callbacks and all the other stuff is handled in here. So if I go here, you'll see the list of functions is really massive. But that's stuff I don't really need. I plan on converting this into a mod someday. So I will only have the things you need to set up the actual game and modify it accessible from the outside. Alright. I think that sums up. I went a bit off topic there at the end. But I think that sums up my debugging tutorial. Hopefully you learned something about debugging maps. And to any of you who follow my other tutorials, please, before you ask me questions about my map, if you have an error, try to double, triple, quadruple check it. Try to debug it yourself, because that's how you learn. It doesn't help you if I look over your map and fix your bug for you in 2 minutes, because you did a simple mistake somewhere. If you want to learn how to create maps properly, then debug them yourself, and you will learn a lot quicker. So that's it for this time. I'm not sure when I will do my next tutorial. This was kind of a spontaneous tutorial done because I got a lot of requests lately. And now I'm going back to creating my own map. So see you all later.